Welcome to day 2 or the review of day 1. What are we talking about again? Yeah, that's right. Multiplying polynomials. Now, each family member will be known as a what? Term. Yeah, they'll be known as a term. Now, what type of family? What type of polynomial would this be? Very good. It has 3 terms, which is known as a trinomial. Now, what if I did? Well, before we go there, let's look really close. Look very closely at their faces. What could that mean? It got to mean something. Yeah, I agree. These represent the signs of the term, right? So 3p is smiling. So 3p will simply be just 3p. So a smiling 2p squared would be a smiling 2p squared. Now, between each term, you got to have a what? Plus sign. Except for this last term. This last term says I'm an unhappy 5. What could that mean? A negative 5. So you don't need a plus sign there. All right, so we have our trinomial, our 3-term polynomial. All right, so let's do something with that. What if I took that polynomial and put a grouping symbol between them? Now, that divides that polynomial into 2 separate families. What type of polynomial is in parentheses now? Binomial, good. And what type of polynomial is on the outside? A monomial. Now, once I put a parenthesis around this group here, that changes the problem. It's no longer this because that plus sign has to go now. That is a different problem now. All right? That means something has to be multiplied. All right? So hold on. Let's look at it. All right. Let's look at family A with a top family and a bottom family. Let's look at that. All right. There's a difference now. You can see them side by side. Well, next to each other. There's a difference right there. See, when you see a plus sign, that changes the operation, what they want you to do to these 2 polynomials. A term directly on the outside is telling us to multiply. A plus sign a plus sign between the term and the polynomial is telling me that they do not want us to multiply those. This is a mistake that I saw on our hybrid work for some of us. So you cannot multiply across a plus sign. It can't happen. Okay, let's address some common issues that I saw on our hybrid work. Let's start here. Let's start at the family right here at the top. Let's start with this family here. Now, whenever you see a family in parentheses, you're either dealing with a parent or kids. Just looking at this, which one you think this is? This group you see right here represents the kids. All right? It represents the kids. Let's try this group down here at the bottom. Which group represents the kids? These are the kids. Now, I'm trying to show you something. Whenever there's a parenthesis with nothing right beside it, you are looking at a kids group. When you're looking at a parenthesis, when something's right on the outside, the group in parenthesis is still the kids group. These are still the kid group. Now, the issue is here, I see this parent. I see it. No issue. The issue that I notice that students have is that recognizing that every kid group has a parent. Every kid group has at least one parent. So if you don't see a term outside of a parenthesis, it's there. It's an understood what? One. A positive, happy one. Ready to whoop those kids. Now, if you have a term right on the outside, then there's not a one. It is what it is. I am here. You see me. It's 3P. All right, keep that in mind. When you don't see a number right outside of the parentheses, it is a understood one. Sometimes it'll work to go ahead and write it there. All right, stay with me. All right, let's look at this last one down here. Now, first thing, always identify your kid group. If you see a parenthesis, these are your kids. Your task is going to be trying to determine who's the parent now. What's the parent? Who is the parent? Remember, there's no, if you don't see a parent right to the outside, then you have to write a understood what? One. This is not the parent. That's a joker from across the street. He can't go across that plus sign to whoop somebody else's kids. Because I'm here. You might don't see me. But again, I'm here. All right? So, let's identify what's going on. Now, when you have a parenthesis, the parent is directly on the outside of parentheses. The parent is directly on the outside of parentheses. When you see a plus or minus on the outside of your parentheses, then the parent is an understood what? One. It's one times the kids. That's one big thing I kept seeing, the mistake I kept seeing on that hybrid work. Thank you for the guys that did. I'm talking to you. All right. Everybody take advantage, but I saw this mistake happen, and I hope you can catch it now. All right. Let's take inventory of what we have in this community of polynomials. All right. Now, from what I told you, every time you see a parenthesis, you have at least one kids group. Let's look at problem A. Identify the kids group. Check all that apply now. These are kids. And these are kids. For A. For B, these are kids. And these are kids. And for C, the group to the right. See, when you have two kids groups separated by addition, that's easy. The parent is one times everything. It stays the same. This parent is a positive one times everything. So it stays the same. All right? When we have a kids group with a minus sign in between it, while the one in the front, that stays the same. The one that's in front of the second group of kids, it won't be a positive one. you will distribute a -1 times both of those kids. All right? It's a little bit different. Apply now. These are kids, and these are kids. For A. For B, these are kids, and these are kids. And for C, the group to the right is the only kid group. What's the difference between A and B, which have two groups of kids, and C? What's the difference? If you said the plus and minus signs in the middle, that's the difference. When there's a plus or minus sign in the middle, you have bad kids, groups of bad kids everywhere. Every parenthesis you have, they need to be whooped. But when there's no plus or minus between the parentheses, you have another group. You have a parent group. All right? That's what today's lesson is going to cover.